Hello everyone, this is the Treerific Gamer and welcome to today's video in which we will be discussing the reveal of Mortal Kombat 11. The community event was held a couple of weeks ago, and although I did not attend, I did watch at home, and I'm here today to give my first thoughts on Mortal Kombat 11. So before we begin, I'd like to thank Ketchup and Mustard, who are well known in the competitive fighting game community, who allowed content creators such as myself the opportunity to use this footage that you are currently watching in the background. So I very much appreciate that. And so if you want to learn more about the characters or have any want any tutorials about some of the different characters and character overviews and anything else Mortal Kombat, I recommend that you go and take a look at their channel. It'll be linked down in my description down below, so please go and check them out. The separate meters, um, which I think most of us noticed at first. And I think this is a neat idea. It's different, it's unique, it's new and refreshing, and I think that's something that NetherRealm really wanted to get across, is that, we're not just bringing out another Mortal Kombat game, we're expanding and improving on it and making it a little bit different. And I think that's a neat idea. I think all of us would really appreciate if they did that. And they did. They really came prepared with different mechanics than Mortal Kombat X. So let's begin with the first one I want to discuss, which is the meters, like I already said. The meters are different now because usually, for example, in Mortal Kombat 9 or Mortal Kombat X, the meters were all together down in the corner of the screen, and there was usually 4 bars of meter. Well, they were all used for defensive and offensive attacks, meter burning special abilities, uh, combo breakers, and block breakers, and of course the X-rays. But this time they did a little bit different. So there's a vertical meter, which is specifically designed for defensive moves, such as combo breakers or punishes or, that kind of thing. Basically, anything defense is that vertical meter. And of course, the horizontal meter is for offensive moves such as meter burns and, well, that's about it. Meter burns. So basically anything offensive like that. But the interesting thing is, the meter burns are now known as augments, which is a little different and a neat name to call them, augments, because that's basically what they are, is making these special abilities stronger, more damage, and that's what I like. So these meters, another interesting thing, a really cool thing, is that they regenerate over time. So even if you're not hit, they still regenerate, and I think that's really cool because it keeps you on your toes during the game. So if you want to use an offensive move and you got a meter that's finally regenerated, you can go ahead and use it. I think it's a really neat idea. Even when you're not hit, I like the fact that they're even allowing it to regenerate even if you're not hit. And I think that's a really neat idea as well. But you start, an even bigger idea, bigger thing that I like about this is that your offensive and defensive meters are both filled at the beginning of the match. So you, as soon as you get in the match, have all your meters filled and are starting with you're all set to go for the match. And I think that's really cool. So you can just go right ahead and start a combo and then go into a augment if you wanted. And I think that's really cool. Now, there is a negative to this, and this is where me being at home watching with the rest of you guys, I noticed, especially with other content creators, how in the menu with the special abilities and whatnot, where they're located, I was able to notice one thing, and that is that augments are, instead of a trigger input, are button inputted. So it's like a special ability, except this time you have to push in the button triggers, button inputs to actually augment the meter burns, and that is something I think would make it a lot more difficult, especially in a fast-paced game like Mortal Kombat. Even though it is a little bit slower than the previous version of the game, or the previous game, it just doesn't seem like it's a perfect fit in the game. Personally, I like the trigger. I think it makes it a lot easier and a lot more convenient. And even Ed Boon has said in an interview that the feature is still a work in progress and that it could probably change. So the fact that they're thinking about maybe changing it back to the trigger is something that I'm really happy about, and I hope they can go through with that. So, after discussing these two meters, we now do the third and final meter, which is a little different and also a kicker because it's really this really will keep you on your toes because the health bar is also the third meter for your super moves. And this time, instead of x-rays, they're called fatal blows. And what that is they're like x-rays, except instead of showing like bones being cracked, you'll get a brutal gore cinematic is basically what it is. And it's really cool. Some of them are pretty amazing. We've seen Baraka's. Baraka's is probably so far one of my favorites. I think that one was pretty cool. Same with Sonya's. Same with Scarlett's. I mean, not all the characters have been revealed yet, and I'm really itching to see more of these fatal blows. And what I like about them is that basically, it says it in the name. If you are at 30% health or less, basically, it's an urgent necessity tool, really. This will do a lot of damage, and it's only available once per match. So you have to use this very carefully. So if you are, let's say you have to use it if your opponent's already won a round and on the verge of winning the match itself, so that would be when you would want to use it. Or if you just want to show it off and you know you're going to win, then you probably might want to just do it that way anyway. Because I know I'd probably be doing that a lot. Because I really will just want to keep seeing these over and over again. And I like that. And there's a very awesome part to this, which is you will be able to, if you miss it, like if you missed an x-ray in the previous game, that's it. Your meters are gone, and you have to rebuild your meter. But with this, with the fatal blows, if you use it or activate it and you miss, it regenerates after a small cooldown, and then it's activated again, and then if you hit them, it's used. But if you miss again, it still cools down again, and you still have a chance to use it again and try and activate it and hit the opponent, which I think is really, really awesome. Because if even in the last game, if you missed the X-ray, you'd be like, oh, geez, that's awful. Like you would be pretty upset, especially if you were low on health and this X-ray would have, taken your opponent out. Um, so I like the idea that you can, if you miss it, you can try and activate it and hit your opponent, and it only goes away if you hit your opponent. I think that's a really good idea. Then there's also the crushing blows, which is a new feature and actually involves X-rays. So instead of eliminating X-rays, they've actually incorporated it into the game a lot more, which I think is a really neat idea, something completely different, something you don't really see in any other video game or any other fighting game. So basically, what happens is there's a specific requirement from what I've heard. They've been saying there's a specific requirement that is necessary to complete before doing a crushing blow, and you'll get like a little screen, a little cinematic of, let's say you block a move and then you uppercut. That's just an example. But blocking a move and uppercutting, and it'll actually go to like a cinematic screen and show the opponent's jaw breaking. I think that's incredible. That's such a way to keep the game interesting and to keep it, again, on your toes, and to keep you aware and to keep you, informed of, what's this next thing that could this do a crushing blow? And the thing about crushing blows is they also do a significant amount of damage. So you have to be very careful because they could, it could basically, it could be a match winner or a match loser, or a round winner or a round loser. So you have to be very careful of the crushing blows. But I think it really is a unique addition to Mortal Kombat 11. And instead of just eliminating X-rays, they've reinvented it and added them in to the game as these crushing blows, and I think that's really cool. Now, some of them you don't see any of the bones or anything, but they're still, gruesome enough and gory, and I mean that's a Mortal Kombat game. That's just what you have to expect in a Mortal Kombat game, and I think it's a great addition, and I think these new mechanics are just uh, a great feature. These new mechanics just show how much NetherRealm cares about making a good video game, but with all these mechanics, making them a fantastic video game and making their games even bigger and better than the last one. And that's what I like. Which leads me to the next part. Just besides the more entertaining and exhilarating mechanics that are involved in the game, we gotta talk about the graphics. And I gotta say, they are absolutely stunning. Of course, they're using the Unreal Engine, which is um, what they usually use. They've used it in Injustice 2. They've used it, I believe, in Mortal Kombat X. But they've really come around and used these graphics and pushed the technology that they have to its very limit. And that is absolutely fantastic to see, because you don't want to just play a game with, awful graphics and awful content. NetherRealm really always uh, one up themselves and always, always find a way to make the characters look realistic. Uh, the blood, the fatalities, the brutalities, all of that. They find a way to make it even more realistic, and that's just something that me as a gamer really loves, absolutely loves. So I think that these graphics really show how much basically they're technologically pushing um, to make these graphics. They're using the technology to excellent use, and they're going to continue to push this technology to the limit. They're going to continue to make games that are continuously getting better and better, and Mortal Kombat 11 is just another example of them shooting for the stars and getting it perfect with the graphics, and not just the graphics but the mechanics itself, and the audio as well, because the audio is incredible as well with the characters speaking. What I like is that they've incorporated, and they kind of did this a little bit in Mortal Kombat X, which is kind of having the voices muttered, and that's especially the case if you got a mask on. So the mask, the uh, the voice a little quieter, a little muttered, a little harder to hear. But I think that's a good thing, because basically that's what a mask is supposed to do. It's supposed to mask your identity, mask your voice, and I think they really take that audio into good use. Every little bone crack, every little blood squirt, every little everything just sounds absolutely fantastic. When they said that you won't miss a bone crushing, blood spurting, and they're right, you won't miss it. It's probably the best audio that they've done in the game, and even the soundtrack is so. It just sounds like the setting of the game, and it just all the sounds and all the audio, it just goes together so well. I can't wait to see what else, or how farther they push these graphics and the audio. It's just so revamped, even with the characters, the arenas, the characters, like the characters look so realistic, way better than they did in MKX. Now, that's not to say I don't like how they looked in MKX, but I'm saying they've exponentially improved how the characters look from MKX to MK11, and the arenas are just so beautiful. Let's use an example of one of the arenas that they use, and let's use Shang Tsung's Island Ruins. So the one that has all the monks there. What I like about that one is they really took the graphics into good use, and it's an intricate arena, and it just shows all the ruins very well, like all the dilapidated buildings, all the ruins, all the decomposing monk bodies, the ferns that are overgrown, the natural, normal wear and tear after being abandoned for so long. Um, and then on top of that, they added in like a mild fog, so you can still see into the distance, but it's a little darker, and kind of almost like Silent Hill a little bit. But it just goes to show you that they really improved on the design and the creativity of the arenas, and just put that into perspective with Special Forces Desert Command, where it's very bright and very dusty. So sometimes you'll see dust being picked up, and their missiles are being shot out, and you'll see like the dust just gather, and the smoke. It just they've really made this a terrific game. It's looking absolutely stunning and absolutely incredible, and I'm very excited to play it. And that leads me to the last part. After discussing all that ambiance, the fantastic ambiance of the arenas, and especially Shang Tsung's Island ruins, I'm interested to see what all the other arenas look like. And I believe that in one of the trailers, one or two of the trailers, we've actually seen Kronika's arena. And it looks beautiful. It looks so just gorgeous. But this leads me to the last part, speaking of beautiful designs, and that's the customization features. And I gotta say, I think that this is one of the, out of everything we talked about, with all the mechanics and everything, I think this is the greatest, or one of the best things that they've added to Mortal Kombat 11. I mean, the fatal blows are up there too. I really like the fatal blows. I really like the fatalities. But this is something that I don't think has ever been in a Mortal Kombat game. And I think it's an awesome thing. I think that because it reminds me of Injustice 2 a little bit, and I think it's nice that they're allowing us to customize the characters to the way we want to have them fight, and how do we want to have them look, and how we want to have them augmented so that they're even better in a fight. I think it's fantastic. And just some of the things that you can do with the customization is, well, they've showed us you can, instead of in Injustice 2, you had 5 pieces of gear. You had their main accessory, their legs, their arms, their chest and torso, and their head. But in this, for example, with Scorpion, you just get his mask, his katana, and his spear. And from what we've seen, they have a bunch of different designs, and they're looking pretty badass. And that's the way I want to make my character look. I want to make them the badass way that I want them to look. So basically, we can all create our own badasses, and I think that's incredible. But that's not the only thing we can customize. There's also the skins, so the outfits are different with different colors. You can customize the gear that you can change your character out of, like the mask or the spears, or katanas. For Scorpion, for example, you can choose different augments that will allow you to make the character that you really want in a match, and to basically make them yours. Also available to do in the customization is, because I paid very close attention to this, especially when some of the YouTubers brought their content back from the reveal. What I saw in the customizations is that you can actually customize which fatalities you have and which brutalities you have, which tells me that there's going to be more than 2 fatalities that you can choose from in the game. And if that's true, that's pretty cool. Same thing with brutalities. You can choose a different brutality for your different variations, which I think is incredible. You can also, and I like this too, customize the intros and outros of your characters, which is going above and beyond anything that I'd expect. It's something that really just goes to show you how much they've really put into this customization feature, and how much they really want us to work on making these characters the way we want them to be. And that's awesome. So I believe with everything that I've discussed today, just goes to show you what the people at NetherRealm Studios are doing to make this the best Mortal Kombat yet. And we all know it's going to be the best one yet, because they always, like I said, they always one-up themselves and always make the next game better. So this one will be the best Mortal Kombat game, and may I add, I think best fighting game of the year, and maybe even game of the year. I think we got ourselves a contender. I think with what we've seen so far, and we're just getting started. That's not including the DLC characters. That's not including the rest of the roster. Although they did reveal Kano, which is a not surprising addition, and with the possibility, which is closer to 100% possibility, of Cabal being in the game. These characters are just gonna really make the game even better. Then, of course, there's Liu Kang and Ku Lao, who aren't officially confirmed, but we've seen them in the trailers, so it's almost certain they'd be a part of the game as well. That just goes to show you what kind of roster we have on tap for this game. And I'm really interested to see who else they put in the game. And even beyond the main roster for DLC, I'm really interested to see who they choose to put in the DLC. And that brings me to my final point. I know I said that the customization was my last point, but I wanted to bring up the pre-order bonus. Because I gotta say, I'm happy about this pre-order bonus, because after playing Mortal Kombat Mobile, I've just loved playing this character, and the fact that we get to play it in the console version of Mortal Kombat, in Mortal Kombat 11, is incredible. I'm really happy about this edition, and that edition is Shao Kahn. I think it'll be an incredible addition, like I said, and something that I will be using him quite a bit, I think, because he's just such a badass with that hammer. And I'm really excited to see what other customization options that we can do for our characters. So there's a lot to look forward to when the game comes out. But be sure to stay tuned to my channel, because I will be doing more Mortal Kombat 11 videos. I have pre-ordered the game, so I will be doing the beta. So when the beta comes out at the end of March, I'll be sure to start uploading Mortal Kombat 11 beta videos. And of course, I'll be covering the story of the game and much more. Not just the story, but I'm going to go through this game with a fine-tooth comb. I will be covering this game for a long time. And so this just brings me to my final statement here. After everything we've seen, I gotta say, I'm very excited for this game when it comes out on April 23rd. This is looking absolutely incredible, and even with the star power of Ronda Rousey as Sonya, that was a nice surprise, a nice touch. It makes sense for such a badass like Ronda Rousey to voice Sonya Blade, who's also such a badass. But I'm really excited, and like I said, I think this will be the best game in the series, because they always find a way to one-up themselves, and this is something that I believe that even NetherRealm Studios strives to do. I know that's what they strive to do, to make their games better all the time. And that's something that I like about a company. They care about their players. They care about you know, our opinions, our thoughts, our ideas, and even some of our character ideas as well. I'm just really impressed with what NetherRealm has shown us so far, and I'm really excited to see more of what they have in store for this game. So make sure you tune into the Combat Cast on Tuesday at 3 Central, 4 Eastern, 2 Pacific, I think. But make sure you tune in to the Combat Cast, because spoiler alert, we'll be seeing Cabal. Anyway, this is my first time doing voiceover, so I apologize if I seem to be rambling on, or seemed a little nervous. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you again to Ketchup and Mustard for allowing me to use this, the content that you've seen in the background. And again, thank you to NetherRealm. I gotta say, thank you to NetherRealm for making this game and making a incredible looking game, and a game that I am really truly excited to play. So I want to thank them for that. And continue to be the badasses they are, and coming up with this fantastic game and all their other games. But again, I'm really excited for this release, and I hope you guys are too, because this will be the best game in the series, period. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please share it. Please share it with your friends, and if you did like this video as well, also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more content. And don't forget to also like the video, because I want to do more of these, and I want to get your opinion on how I did on this first one. And don't forget to pre-order the games so you can get access to the beta and Shao Kahn, which I'm really excited about. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.